To accomplish their visions and goals, effective leaders must rely on their people to be precise and effective in executing assigned strategies and tactics. Unfortunately, misunderstandings and miscommunications too often hamper that execution. Good contracting can prevent those situations from happening. Contracting in this context is building explicit agreements of shared agreements that work for all involved. Such agreements can prevent the upsets of unmet expectations and thwarted intentions that waste so much time and energy. In this series of 4 videos, you will learn how to assure effective execution through effective agreements. Hello, I'm Dr. Michael Broom, CEO of the Center for Human Systems. I've helped executives, leaders, and their teams succeed for over 45 years now. Welcome to my leadership videos. Everything we accomplish with others, be it work or pleasure, happens because we have effective agreements with them. But those agreements fail at times, resulting in unmet expectations and their upsets. For leaders, this can be disastrous. That's where contracting that assures effective execution comes in. These contracts need not be in writing. We call them contracts simply to emphasize the need for them to be explicit and negotiated. Negotiated until everything is mutually understood by all parties and workable for them without taking all day. Such contracts are also designed to be dynamic and iterative to deal with ever-changing circumstances and needs. Poor execution of tasks and tactics can come from assuming others understand and agree when they don't. Leaders often take silence as consent, which it isn't. When we take for granted that there is understanding and agreement when there isn't any, we set ourselves up to waste time and energy that we could save through effective contracting. And this happens all too often. There are 3 areas of concern. They are the same 3 as the 3 areas of conscious use of self. They are syncing our intentions with our impact, building and maintaining the connections we need for success, and managing our dear little egos. This video will cover building agreements that will ensure clarity of the outcomes that we intend. Too often, the fact that we are perfectly clear about the outcomes we want doesn't translate into the actions we desire from our people. When the CEO says we want to be the best, everybody nods their head. But does everybody have the same idea about what best really looks like? Or a manager says to an underperforming employee, "You've got to do better." And the employee says, "I will." But does better mean the same thing to the employee as the manager? In both cases, the answer is likely to be no. The parties will only have assumed what was meant in contrast to what was understood. In either case, if they're not on the same page, the agreement is simply a mirage and is likely to turn into conflict. Strong agreements that are likely to meet the leader's intentions have 2 fundamental components. 1, agreements that are explicit to the point that they're mutually understood and everybody would describe the same intended outcome. Number 2, agreements are negotiated to the point that ensures that they are fully supported in execution. As an example, we will use the example of Lawrence. Lawrence is the head of a major hospital system and asked me to help him with his strategic plan. The plan had in place for 6 months with little progress toward implementation. Lawrence wanted to know why. He had invested a lot of time with his team in developing the plan to become the #1 hospital in his tri-state area. To help him out, I interviewed each team member. Half of his executives were basically lukewarm about the goal. Of those who liked the goal, there were very different ideas about success would look like. Hearing that, Lawrence was very upset. He had assumed that the agreement about the goal and the plan to get there was real. He had seen several heads nod, and he took their silence as consent. Silence, however, most often means quite the opposite. No one wants to risk speaking against the plan. After all, it's his company, and why not just go along to get along? That was a problem, pointing out to a possible weak relationship between Lawrence and his people. After some poignant coaching, he got over his upset and agreed to have another retreat to redevelop the plan with a mind toward being more explicit and building a clearer consensus than he actually had previously. We took the first 2 days of the workshop to work through all the team's issues with the relationship they had with him first. The second day, they crafted a new, more specific goal of becoming the #1 trauma center in the tri-state area within 3 years, as measured by the U.S. News and World Report. Not everyone was totally happy, but we got to a strong consensus that didn't take too much time to establish. Consensus decision-making has the reputation of being time-consuming. However, it is still the decision-making process of choice for getting to explicit agreements that will optimize buy-in. However, it needn't be time-consuming if these next 2 steps are followed. #1, ensure that everyone, including dissenters, feel fully heard. 2, ask each dissenter if they are willing to fully support the proposition, even if they don't feel that it is the best idea since sliced bread. Been doing this work and helping groups make decisions for 45 years now, and I've never had those 2 points fail. In the hustle and bustle of daily activity, we don't spend enough time making sure that our agreements are both explicit to the point that they are understood the way we understand them, and that we really have the level of agreement that we need for effective execution. When we do, the probability of effective execution increases dramatically. In part 2 of this 4-part series, Contracting for Effective Relationships, we recognize that even the clearest of outcomes, effectiveness can be severely diluted by dysfunctional teamwork as conflicts, both active and passive, distract from the work that needs doing. Contracting for Ego Management is the 3rd video in this series. It will cover how we can effectively keep our egos from getting in our way. That's our egos, and the egos of our people. Talking about egos can be very uncomfortable, and we rarely do it. But if success is important to you, it's well worth the price. It's coming up soon. The final video, number 4, is the positive side of accountability. It will cover ways to further assure the execution of our contracts, considering the often fallible nature of us human beings. Please give this video a thumbs up, and please subscribe so you'll be informed when these new videos come up.